Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Ink and Bite podcast. It's another guest episode. I know it's been a little bit since the last time we did it. I was doing a lot of single episodes with just me, and I was really lazy and tired, but I'm excited to have another guest episode here. As per usual, I let the person I'm talking to give themselves a little intro, so I'm going to pass the theoretical, even though we're virtual, microphone over to my guest.
Thanks. You can call me Nightfire. It's my YouTube handle as well. I post video game nonsense with my buddies. Uh, Part-time cybersecurity enthusiast and a full-time chef. And that's about it. I'm pretty well-rounded.
Awesome. And chef, hi. I know you post a lot of like food pictures, and I'm always like, that looks phenomenal. Can I eat it, please?
Yeah, that is what I actually get paid to do, is cook food for people. So
Awesome. That's exciting. So I guess let's just jump right into what we both kind of know. You definitely know a lot more than me because I've been taking the longest break ever and I haven't had time to get back to it. But how did you get into cybersecurity? How did you get your interest in it?
Well, honestly, I couldn't tell you the specifics, but I know that it was like looking for something new to do. And then I found Network Chuck. He's a fantastic guy. You guys should all look him up on YouTube. He probably doesn't need me to say that, but he's a great guy. And so I just found his videos, and everybody wants to be the cool hacker guy, from videos and YouTube and movies. They make him sound so cool, and then you do a nosedive into the technical aspect of it, and you're like, this is a lot more than what they show on the TV.
Yeah. Never Chuck is a great guy. I watched a little bit of his content, but it's really interesting.
He's a good uh, uh, beginner guy. He gets your attention. He uh, gets you interested in it. And then when you become more advanced, I moved on to like David Bombal. He's awesome. John Hammond. He's a fantastic security researcher. They do some more of the advanced, newer. I think he's now covering a new zero-day exploit that came out this week.
That's exciting. What was it?
Give me a second.
It's all good. As I gave a cue from my dogs, they automatically started barking at the door. So you gotta love
Awesome.
it. But yeah. So what area of cybersecurity interested you the most? I know. I guess I should probably with me. What got me into cybersecurity initially was Darknet Diaries and kind of my brother's interest in it. I was fascinated by the aspect of physical penetration testing, trying to break into buildings and get into server rooms and just trying to steal or trying to see what information you could steal and get your hands on, even though you're technically not allowed to. That's kind of what started me being interested in the field, was the podcast and just the idea of breaking into buildings like a spy. But what area do you like the most?
Uh that's a tough one, because I like the shiny, I want to break in, use the newest exploits. That's always fun. But if you're looking for like a more long-term solution, which I am now, it's probably defense. And so blue team is my new interest, as well as like network hardening and firewall attributes.
Awesome. So are you predominantly blue team, or because I know there was a little stint of time that we both were doing the try hack me stuff.
Yeah, I would say I'm predominantly a purple. I am pretty evenly distributed against attack and defense, which is overall pretty useful. But I wouldn't say I'm a master at either.
Gotcha. And it's all self taught that you do, right? It's all self teaching.
Yeah, YouTube videos, virtual labs, VMs, try hack me, hack the box, stuff you get for dirt cheap.
Yeah. The CTFs that you can do on some of the websites, and I know Try Hack Me has a really great like tools for you to play like gamification type stuff with other people, so you can do those little CTFs and King of the Hill. What King of the Hill sounded? Have you ever done one of those? The King of the Hills on Try Hack Me?
No, I never had a opponent, so I never got to play King of the Hill. But what I found is that it's kind of a purple team exercise. You attack and defend a point. You have to get in first, hold the point, and then defend the exploit so nobody can kick you out of it.
Interesting. I the concept of King of the Hill is really cool because I never really hear about it. I only hear capture the flag. So I was seeing that. I'm like, oh, that's dope. I never played it either. I was too afraid to do any of the competitions on there. I'm like, I'm a simple boy. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just poking around in the training rooms.
Everybody always starts as poking around, and then you kind of just find yourself. It's a maturity thing, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I just had a thought, but I lost it. Oh no. Oh yeah. Have you ever followed or heard of Black Hills Information Security?
Hmm. No, I'm unfamiliar with that one.
They're pretty awesome. They do like a really good news podcast and stuff, and they just have good resources for education. I always recommend those to people. My brother, he's really big into their stuff. My train of thought's being ruined because my dogs won't stop barking, so I'm struggling.
I understand the struggle. I had a husky for a few years, and man, he talks a lot.
Oh yeah, they're loud doggos. I really want a husky
No,
badly,
you
but
don't.
I hear they're so are they really like super mega high maintenance?
Yeah, a husky's all fine and dandy until he blows his coat, and then you have to clean up fur for about 3 months straight.
Was yours vocal?
Yeah, super, especially when he wanted attention.
I gotcha. So what's your goal with your cybersecurity stuff?
I've kind of transitioned from bug bounties and uh, glory days of hacking into hardware repair. I'm currently owning a small business that I can repair phones, hardware troubleshoot, remove malware. It's kind of cool. It brings in a little cash flow, but it's not like retirement fund.
Totally understand. So, ironically enough, I was talking. I don't remember who it was with. I should, but sleepy brain. Talking with one of my friends yesterday about just computer building in general, and they were pretty. I'm super bad with it. Like my first computer was pre-built, and it was a horrible computer. No, I shouldn't say it was horrible. It wasn't good. And then I bought parts and I sent it to shop and I had them put it together for me. But he was saying it's like adult Legos. Can you see PC building and repairing like adult Legos?
Yeah, it's once you get the hang of your first PC, I know that's the most nerve-wracking one because you bought all the parts and you want it to go well, and then you're racking your brain what didn't happen, why is it not booting? But after you get the hang of it and you have a couple builds under your shirt, it's basically just Legos. Plug in some RAM, paste a CPU, watch all the pretty colors do the things.
I made
Maybe.
fun of one of my friends for getting. I'm looking at my RAM now. Like I poked fun at my friend for getting a shit ton of RGB RAM, and I'm like, why do you want that? You're not gonna look at it. And then I got it, not on purpose. It was just really good
Uh,
RAM that happened to be RGB. And now I find myself staring at it sometimes, and I'm like, all right, I can get it.
yeah, RGB is awesome, but I don't like how prevalent it is in the market. Like, I can't find RAM sticks that don't have RGB. And I was like, I don't need my RAM to light up. I
Yeah,
don't need my GPU to light up. I have lights. I love the lights, but the lights are separate and I can turn them off without turning off my PC, which is helpful for overnight downloads.
yeah, I can't turn these off. They're just always on. I can totally everything's RGB though. Like I'm surprised there's not more RGB in this computer. I know my friend just got his computer built. I think the case was like all fans, and I'm like, all right, well, that's cool, but I don't think I need 8 fans. I
Yeah,
Ooh, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, like the world of PC building, you can have a mini one that sits under your TV and runs a basic Linux program, or you can have a powerhouse that runs games at 8K and 120 frames per second or whatever you want. The flexibility is almost infinite with PC building, and it's kind of why it's better than Legos, I'd say.
Until you shock a component and break the whole thing.
Yeah, but then comes to the technical side, and it's like fixing it. I enjoy fixing it. I enjoy the troubleshooting and what did I do wrong? What can
it's
I fix better?
it's high stakes adult Legos.
Yeah,
I
it's high stakes Legos.
Yeah. I know I got my new graphics card not too long ago after everything was built because my old graphics card was from like pre-COVID. It was really old. So I got another one. And I was too afraid to put it in myself, so I spent probably like a week just sitting on it, going around calling shops trying to find somebody to put it in. And I had like every shop I called was like, yeah, that's going to be $200, $300, and there's probably going to be a few hour wait time. And this was before I understood how easy it was to put a graphics card in the thing. And then
Oh yeah.
after getting that response for like a week, I found this dude. It was just a single dude. I didn't know. I thought he had a shop, but his shop closed down. And I called him, and he was like, "Yeah, so I've been calling shops and trying to get this graphics card in. What's your price? Because people are telling me like 200. Can you do better than that?" And he was like quiet for a minute, and then he was like, They're trying to charge you $200 to put a graphics card in. That's a 10-minute job. I wouldn't even charge you for it."
It's 10 minutes, if that.
Literally. And that was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm being bamboozled. So I tried to set something up with him. Unfortunately, he vanished. Don't know if he died or if he just went off the grid, but I put it in myself, and I was very brave, and I was like, it took me more than 10 minutes because I was like having a panic attack every time something moved. I was like, oh my God, did I just break it? Oh my God, my baby. No. I turned my kitchen into like a makeshift workshop to put this thing in there, and then I did it, and I'm like, wow, that was really easy, and it gave a sense of like accomplishment that I haven't felt while I'm putting something together, because it literally was just take out 2 screws, take the old one out, put this in, screw them back in.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, I despise people that overcharge for the simplest things. You're just taking advantage of the people that don't understand. I mean, I can't expect everybody to know every in and out of a PC build or how to run a malware check on Windows Defender. So I want to, if I have to do basically no effort, I'm going to charge them maybe the transportation fee to get me to their house. But aside from that, nothing.
Yeah, there's definitely like a morality battle. Like you're holding like the cards. If someone calls you asking you for something easy, you can be like, well, I can either overcharge them or I can be a decent human being. I was so surprised how easy it was. But that's also coming from the person who accidentally plugged in their monitor to not in the graphics card. And then I was wondering why I couldn't run games over like 30 frames. And then I called my friend over when he lived near me to come help me. And he was troubleshooting it for probably 3.5 hours. And then he was leaving. We didn't know what it was. I was like, oh, I guess my graphics card broken or something. He was on his way out. He stops in the door and he looks behind my terminal, and he just stares at it for like 60 seconds, blinks, looks at me, goes, you didn't plug it into the graphics card.
Yeah, I mean, that the simplest things are often overlooked by people that do this regularly. I know I've been like, why is it not booting? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't put any RAM in it. Or the power switch on the power supply isn't flipped on. I'm like, oh, I'm a genius.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. I now every time I unplug stuff, I take a picture of what it looked like before, and then I compare it when I put everything back in, because that was horrible.
Oh yeah. So I mean, and like I find the biggest scam of them all is those programs that will say, "We'll remove malware. Just pay us, $200." And I'm like, Windows Defender will most likely get rid of every single malware that is known, aside from like 0 days or something that you put on there by accident. But like, it'll get rid of like 99% of the malware for free because it's built into your Windows.
Yeah, the man, there's a lot of antivirus. So my grandmother, bless her, I don't even like going on her network because I'm afraid that I'm gonna get the nuke that's probably sitting on her computer to infect my stuff. But like her computer is so infected, like it's crazy. Like antivirus, she has like 5 different antiviruses. She only knows about one of them that it's McAfee, and
Oh,
it
that one.
yeah, literally, yeah, exactly that one. Every time she goes on the internet, she gets warnings that every website she visits is not safe, and I'm like, how do I tell her computer is practically a viper pool of infection? And her thought process is, if I unplug it from the wall and plug it back in, everything goes away. And I'm like, oh gosh, please just get in. Let me just factory reset your computer, please.
We're gonna reinstall Windows. Everything's messed up.
Yeah, I'm bringing a flash drive with a Windows boot on it, and we're gonna start from fresh because this thing needs to be quarantined. And then I'm burning the flash drive. It's
Uh,
bad. The amount of
that might be the
scammers.
safest option.
Yeah, literally, dude, that abomination doesn't need to exist anymore. The amount of scammers, like, she gets hundreds of phone calls. It's so crazy. Every time I bring my stuff over to her house, I have to sleep over. I have like 3 VPNs going at the same time. I'm like, I'm good, chief. I don't need to bring whatever the hell is in this network back with me.
Yeah, you could just run Tails OS. I mean, that's a safe version.
I've been meaning to just go on Wireshark and just watch because I'm genuinely curious to know what's going on because it's crazy.
It's all pinged to China or something.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Speaking of fixing problems and small problems, I this is me being silly, but on my Kali Linux I keep forgetting my password. So I think
Uh,
the past 5 times, this is why I haven't like picked up my normals, because right now I have a cybersecurity textbook I got for my birthday. Oh, I'm such a nerd. I know. Wow, a textbook for my birthday. But I haven't gone back to my Kali Linux because I keep forgetting the password, and I have to go through the process of going into the kernel and changing a quick boot setting and then changing the password. And I'm like, I don't want to do it again.
yeah, the password management. I'm so glad we have those totally legitimate tools that we could totally trust to watch all our passwords for us.
How do you feel about, speaking of that, how do you feel about like Proton services? Because I use Proton, but I'm curious to know if you have any opinions on them.
I personally love Proton and I recommend it to everybody simply because they're free
Mhm.
or at minimum low cost if you're using their servers, but servers have upkeep, so that makes sense. But I love the privacy aspect of it, even though legal stuff has gotten in the way that I shouldn't get into, but uh, they're just
Yeah.
privacy forward, even though these old people in charge are not privacy forward.
Oh man, you can get me going about that. I understand completely. So I talked about this once before, so it's safe for me to bring it up again because I've already talked about it. But my favorite, I talked about it with Moonicorn. I think you probably heard it, but my favorite was when there was legislation going on about like crypto and stuff, and they were
Oh
all
yeah.
gathering together, and like they banned the one person who held any from the conference. So you're pretty much removing the only opposition that you could have had from the discourse. I'm like, all right, that's where we're at.
Oh man. Uh, the US was gonna, well, they are banning TikTok. And if you watch the debate in the courtroom for it,
Hmm.
it it was some guy that's probably never even seen a real computer, and he's like, "Does TikTok access the home network?" And the guy's just like, yes, because it has to." And so it's like trying to talk to I don't want to be offensive, but like the older generation about how the internet works,
Hmm.
because they just have it in their mind that TikTok is bad because internet or because blank and blank. And you're like, no, TikTok access is the internet through your home network, because everything has to access the internet through a network.
It's like Facebook. I mean,
I
everybody
mean,
over
Facebook's
the
probably
age,
more
yeah.
dangerous, uh, but
It don't,
without getting
don't
into
worry, you won't
politics.
be. Yeah, you won't be able to be. I'm pretty in the episode I talked with my friend Chris. We were doing the same thing, so it's okay. Um, is TikTok actually being banned? Like, is that because I'm a peacock when it comes to everything like that? Like, I stick my head in the sand and I ignore everything because my mental bandwidth is so strained that I just can't deal with it.
I get tidbits of info, but like I don't personally have TikTok. I'm not gonna be like affected if it is
Hmm.
banned. But the concept of this older generation that makes the laws banning a thing that they're just scared of because they don't understand. I mean, I understand the whole Chinese network and Chinese government part, but that's not the important one. Is these guys don't fully understand why they're banning it.
Hmm.
They just have an idea and they're just executing it regardless of everybody else's wishes.
And it's the same people that make cybersecurity laws. I like to laugh about it because Black Hills Information Security, they always cringe. They're like they talk about a lot about some of the laws that are made, and it's just like there's just a disconnect. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I've had sorry.
no, you're good. Go ahead.
I mean, just I've applied to a lot of cybersecurity firms looking for employment, and then I will look through their website, being the tech geek that I am, find a vulnerability, email them their vulnerability with my my resume, and they will just never get back to me ever. And I was like, I literally just proved that I can do things, and you're just patched it quietly and never talk to me again.
That's crazy. I know you probably really can't disclose, but like, was it silly things, like really easy silly things?
Well, I'm not going to tell you the website, and they technically already patched it, so it's fine. But when you have the little contact us button,
Hmm.
right? They didn't have a captcha or anything. So you could write a 5-second Python script to push that button 10,000 times per second to simply overload their system. And
Classic.
that would be considered a denial of service, because you would be causing havoc on their end by giving them too many requests for their servers to handle. And they just added a captcha and never texted me again.
I feel like that you're proving that you can. It's like literally work experience right there. I'm right. I get it, man. Like I feel like people like when I do job searching, they look at my resume and be like, "Oh, he's only 24. He's probably lying about half the shit on here," and they just don't get back.
Probably lying. Yeah, I get that. And that's honestly, that was the one case that I did that. I got so peeved that I just stopped trying to look for jobs. And I feel like, so I started the small business fixing stuff, get my name out there.
Yeah.
And then somebody will contact me when they're ready, because clearly contacting them doesn't work.
Honestly, it's probably just how the butterfly effect stuff. Maybe it's beneficial, right? Because now you have your own small company.
Well, can I ask you a question if
Oh,
we're
please,
pausing for a while?
please do, please.
Uh,
I'm a horrible host today.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on the ChatGPT AI progression? Is it doomsday Skynet, or do you think it's going to help us evolutionize the species of human?
It's a really good question. I really think it depends on the person using it, because like I cannot tell you, like I was in university when it was in the thick of it and all the professors were like doomsday prophesizing, and like you'll get kicked out of school and fined and have to pay, like literally you'll never be able to go to school again if you use it. I think if you're the student or the person that gets tasked with, say, an essay to do, and you go up to ChatGPT and ask it to write the entire essay and don't even look at it, then you probably shouldn't be in school. But I find, especially in my own utilization of it, that it's a good buffer, and it's really good to ask questions if you don't have direct access to another way to find the solution. I use it for my grammar because my grammar is horrible, and I might use it for some of my blogs. I might put in what I write, and I'm like, how can this sound better? Do you have any suggestions? I read what it outputs, and then I edit that further. So I think it's a good buffer, but you never want to use what it tells you from face value, and you never want to use it from like a search engine optimization perspective, just copying and pasting it into your own stuff.
Oh
It's
yeah,
really a buffer. I'm
I
not a
I get you there.
developer. What's up?
No, I was just agreeing.
Oh yeah, I'm not a developer, so I can't say how it feels in that industry. I know I've had used it to write code before, like for my Twitch, they have HTML markup for the about sections, and I'm like, can you format this in Twitch HTML so I can place it in my about panel? Um, I think there's probably going to be safety rails forced on it if it hasn't already, because I noticed there's definitely been a dip in the quality of outputs that make it so it can't do certain things to safeguard jobs. I feel like that's something that legislation would end up doing. But I don't think it's doomsday. I don't think it's doomsday. I don't think we're going to be fighting the Terminator anytime soon.
No, I don't believe it'll be that bad, but I'm I'd say confident that it will take some jobs.
Hmm.
My heart goes out to the freelance artists. Having a few friends that are freelance artists, it will disrupt their flow. Uh, but cars took away the need for carriages and elevators, stairs, and
Yeah.
the typewriter and computers. You don't need people handwriting mathematics anymore.
And you have a
Uh,
calculator. What math teachers say, you're never going to have a calculator, so you have to do this all by hand. But in actuality, you always have a calculator.
yeah, that. So you have uh, the invention of the calculator, ballpoint pen. Things have changed and taken away jobs that seemed essential at the time.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I just believe that's going to happen. But at the same time, an AI only goes off what it's fed.
Hmm.
So if it's fed a bunch of pictures of Iron Man, it's not going to know what a rocket raccoon looks like, just as an example.
Oh yeah, no, totally. And my other kind of feeling, I don't like saying opinion, but I guess my other feeling on it is like we're kind of in like a creative era. Like a lot of like, we have self checkout, we have all the technology that are disrupting jobs that could be automated rather simply. I feel like it's just approaching an era in the human race where we're going to be able to focus on creativity and not so much. I don't want to say mundane because that might sound rude, but the rudimentary things that seemed important before the technology disrupted it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it. Walmart's a terrible place to check out because there's no people working anymore.
Yeah, and there's a lot of theft.
Yeah, but
But I think
anyway.
I think the tech allows people to focus on being more creative, and efficient.
Oh, absolutely. I think it'll even streamline constructive learning. You're like, explain uh, the Louisiana Purchase,
Hmm.
uh, dumb it down, and it'll dumb it down for you. It'll use simpler words. And like your teacher, I love teachers. Teachers are overworked and underpaid, but if you're struggling to understand like AP chemistry or whatever, and you type into ChatGPT, explain what a carbon bond is, and then it'll give you pictures and it'll give you step by step whatever you're needing help with. And teachers can't give that one on one
Hmm.
to a class of 30 or 40 students at once. There's just not enough time for that. So if you use it as like a teacher assistant, it would be fantastic. But people are afraid that it is going to be the teacher, which I don't believe it could do that.
Yeah, I agree. Like the perception of it just in general was skewed, I think. Like it could be assistant learning. Like if it was just used as an assistance tool, but it kind of the perception kind of jumped to like it's going to take over everybody's livelihood. Like
People have
I
been
like even no matter
ranting about that for years.
oh yeah, like no matter how crazy the AI gets, if it's still like you looking at a screen, you're the experience of being taught by a teacher is still going to be profoundly better in a sense for most of the time because you're getting a human to human connection, and there's things that people can get to you better than an AI ever could through inflections, through facial like movement and body language. So it's literally just an assistance tool that was just, thought it was going to be the Terminator. I can't tell you how crazy, like every beginning of the semester, like my last 3 semesters, there was like most of the syllabus talk that you get. It pretty much just evolved into teachers ranting about how they hate ChatGPT and how they'll literally send you to jail if you use it. And I cringed every time. I'm like, okay, it's an assistance tool. It really just depends on the student. Warranted, there was a lot of, not to throw shade on the campus, but there was a lot of students that definitely would and have used it to do everything for them. But if you're going to go into debt to go to school and not really try to do it yourself, then, I mean, that's on them.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where the teachers are coming from. They don't want to dig through piracy constantly.
Yeah.
And piracy is illegal regardless if you're using ChatGPT or not. Before ChatGPT, I was notorious for just copy and pasting quick notes. That was how I got through high school. But illegal, don't do that.
I was telling my bosses today, the only reason why I finished Math 102 was because COVID happened. That was the only reason why I finished Math 102.
And COVID kind of showed us that the internet's no longer a privilege. It's kind of a necessity. Especially with forcing kids to do online school. I believe in public school. But at the same time, not everybody has that access, or some people are in a situation that being in front of that many people or bullying or whatever, public school could be detrimental. But then you have the power of the internet, and you can learn almost as much, or if not more, information from the internet, as long as you can keep them off, TikTok and Fortnite.
Oh man,
you just got it's the parents' job to keep the kid focused.
Yeah, again, I had a good conversation about that specifically with Chris in the last guest episode, but the COVID generation, it's like COVID just in general, even in our age group in university, it made people forget how to be students, and the stuff I was seeing was wild. But not even in our age group, but like really younger kids and young adults and stuff and teenagers, just seeing the effect that COVID had and the Fortnite had, it's a little scary. And as cringy as it sounds, I just seen a video the other day, the skibbity toilet stuff. How that is literally, I was talking to my friend, the skibbity toilet stuff is a fundamental building block in middle school ecosystem, where if you're not a fan, you actually get bullied. Like,
oh, dude, my middle school was just, I think it was the Wimpy Kid Diaries, and that was, I didn't read that book because I thought it was dumb, so I was outcasted, and it was like, What's a cheese dust? I don't understand.
Oh man, my 10-year-old self would be so enraged. I was a dire wimpy kid nerd. I never knew people got bullied over that. That's new to me though. I never.
It was just outcast. It would be like it was just he doesn't get the jokes kind of thing, but it was whatever.
It's really like I tried to find a comparable. That's not a word, but we're gonna go with it. I tried to find something to compare when we were in like middle school where you got bullied for not liking it. That's as cringy as a toilet with a G-Man head in it and a bunch of people with cameras for faces. And I couldn't find a comparison. It's just crazy. It's just like,
It's nothing that the internet was at its baby stages back when we were kids.
yeah.
And so unless you had some serious know-how on how to navigate, because Google's not as old as we. Google's younger than us. And so kids could just Google whatever now. And we had, the hip new book. We had those book fairs or book clubs, or it was the
Book fairs were
movie that
so
came
good.
out.
Book fairs were
Book fairs
fire.
are still good, and they should come back.
Yeah. There was
need to read more books.
I agree. There was a feeling of going to a book fair. And like, have you ever seen those like tornado tubes where you spin it and you have the little tornado in it?
Yes, those
Oh
are the
my
best.
God, those were literally my addiction. I love those so much. There was just a feeling of going to a bookstore, buying a book, and getting one of those tornado tubes. I think they were literally called tornado tubes.
Yeah.
We need more books. No, but
Kids
like,
read more books.
yeah, and there's an argument to be made about parents restricting that stuff because I TikTok doom scrolling's a thing, so it
I'm
could
not
be
even going to get into
detrimental.
the book banning stuff. That's nonsense, and that's just
Oh
that
yeah,
has to stop.
as an
That
as
has
an
to stop
English
immediately.
yeah as an English degree and English student, I talked about that a lot with some professors. That's just
But
it's
so you want to know something weird, right?
what's
Uh,
up.
I live in Montana, and
Hmm.
it's a weird backward state. Our governor decided it was going to be a good idea to ban adult content on the internet. He didn't do a very good job because the number of VPN downloads skyrocketed the day that law took effect. And I was like, wow, he stopped nothing.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people in the upper echelons of the legal system know that VPNs exist or know what they do.
Or, yeah, I think it's more they don't know what they do. Um, so I'm in California legally.
You press a button and you can be anywhere and you bypass any type of issue that they.
Yeah, so I find the issue with that isn't just he did nothing and wasted my tax dollars. It's he made a law that you had to prove that you're an adult to adult websites with a photo ID, which is a huge privacy concern. I'm not going to give anybody on the internet my photo ID. And then people just circumvented it with a VPN, but there's 500 million VPNs on the App Store. And who knows which one's collecting your data and which one's actually doing what they say they are.
That is true. Speaking.
So,
Oops, sorry. Go ahead. No, you're good. I actually lost that thought the second I started to say it. So go ahead.
so I was just going to say if the sketchy VPN company that you just downloaded for free, is it really free if they're selling your data and then you get these weird pop-up ads or these sketchy malware websites?
There's singles in your area looking for a fun time.
Yeah, those. So you're getting all of your web traffic is going to the VPN provider and then to the website you want. But if they're holding the servers that is the VPN, then who's to say it's encrypted and they can't look at it to see exactly where you've been on the internet? So it leaves you into a false sense of security. You're like, nobody's going to know I visited, sendnudes.com. the Noodle website.
I love that. I'm trying to recall the name of the password manager. I should know because I wrote a paper on them in
What was it,
my.
LastPass, the one with the
Yes,
giant
that
data
one.
leak?
Yeah, that's a really so since we're talking about like data collection, and even though there's a lot of companies that say your stuff is secure with us, I think LastPass is a great example of a password manager that has your stuff encrypted, and then they lose the key to the fort, and then
And
your
then
stuff
it's
is no
not
longer safe.
encrypted anymore.
Yeah, it's like, oh, so remember when we told you we were like the most secure password manager, and give us your data, nom nom nom, and we'll keep it safe. Oh wait, we
And
actually
LastPass
lost the
wasn't
key.
just. I remember I used LastPass for like all of 1 week. I didn't like the way it operated, so I jumped the boat early. But the amount of passwords that are suddenly leaked on the dark web is absurd. And it's just, you can't trust a company to do that if they're not going to be secure themselves.
Yeah,
So what do you do?
exactly. it's I
Which
I, I
is why I praise Proton with all heavens. They encrypted it in such a way that they don't even have access to your private key. Only you do, and the person you're sending it to has.
Proton's great.
So Proton cannot access anything that you send through their servers. They have it set up in that way on purpose, which I love about them.
I unironically in the textbook that I've been reading started to get into the section about decryption, and it was it was a hard chapter to read, but talking about how public keys can only be accessed. It was like private keys can only be accessed with public keys, and public keys can only be accessed by private keys, and it was like interesting. So I that's probably not the exact wordage, but there's a lot of
Oh no, it's complicated on purpose. I had to reread it like 3 times and have ChatGPT dumb it down for me. So you're not the only one.
because it's so weird. It feels like backwards in a sense. I'm like, how does that work?
The way I've understood it is the public key is public for anybody to have. It can unlock your data in a particular way, like a safe with a secret bottom is a good way to put it. And then your private key can unlock the main part of the safe plus the secret part. And that's just the simplest way I've visualized it.
No, I like that. That's definitely nicer than how the textbook put it. I because I still had a few more thoughts about the LastPass stuff. I remember that it was for crime and society. Of course, I was the only tech person in the entire room, but I wrote my essay about it. But we also got paired in groups, and we had to talk about specific crimes. And I had the crypto exchange company. Oh goodness, there was a no. I think it was. Do you remember the crypto exchange that got in really big trouble, and the guy ran away with all the money? I don't remember what.
Yeah, the crypto. I don't remember the name, but I understand what you're talking about. It was a fake exchange on purpose.
Oh yeah, I'm bad. I'll put in the show notes if I remember. But I my group had that, and I'm the only person that is in crypto. So I had the honor of explaining the whole situation to a group of people who were not receptive, because it's a hot topic, and being into that stuff on a campus that mostly is not into it was it was fun to try to explain what was going on.
I mean, crypto's a weird subject. I've had conversations with people about crypto,
Mhm.
and it usually starts with that's not real money, and then I hold up a dollar bill and I was like, this isn't real money either. It's just paper with a $1 bill on it. But we trust that it's money, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with crypto. Is it's not real money until you put your trust and financially back it.
Yeah.
But the thing about crypto is they can't just print more Bitcoin. There is a set number in existence and nothing more. paper currency, you have, oh, we need more money, and they print it more. It becomes less valuable.
Yeah.
The thing about crypto is it's the ledger.
Hmm.
Uh, sorry, my lisp, but it is a blockchain of every single transaction that's ever occurred on with Bitcoin. Some other cryptos are not as public about that because they want to remain private, but if you're doing sleazy things with crypto, you should be caught, I guess.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of sleaziness. So I think again, I'm rehashing old ground, but I always think it's good to go back to this. I talked to Mooney about it a lot too. There's a lot of scams and stuff in the space where it makes it feel like everybody who's in the space is a scumbag, and it gave it a
Yeah,
very
I
bad
mean,
perception.
you can say that with paper money too. You got the billionaires that run tax evasion for a living. You got people running stolen money through a legitimate means. They're laundering it. I only know that because I watch Breaking Bad, but
As we get all of the best information on how to make
yeah,
crystal meth, Breaking
yeah,
Bad.
the Breaking Bad is fairly legitimate on how crime organizations work, uh, while being entertaining. But yeah, so there's sleazy stuff going on with all kinds of money. What's the difference if somebody's being sleazy with crypto?
Mhm.
People are sleazy. You're
Oh
not going
yeah,
to magically cure it with a new currency.
yeah. No, I've during my time in the space, I've experienced a lot of hostility. I used to be in a lot of different Discord servers, but have promptly been removed from them.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's I always say it comes down to education. Just learn more about things. Um,
Yeah, but you can't learn about every single subject. That's time consuming and
oh
taxing.
yeah, oh,
Uh,
yeah.
I can't expect to learn anything about cars.
Me
I
neither.
don't know anything about cars, but and I can't expect my grandma to understand the magical world of crypto exchange.
Oh yeah,
So that's
I
why we live in a society. Somebody else is gonna fix my car, and I'm gonna fix their computer. That's kind of where our worth is at.
yeah. My extent of cars is that they have wheels and they drive and they make vroom vroom sounds. That's all I know.
They make vroom vroom sounds.
They make vroom
Yeah,
vroom. I press pedal, car go forward.
that is about right.
Yeah,
I had to Google what the L on my gear shift was. I was like, what is L for?
I love that. I know with the cars coming out now, a lot of it is like the dashboard and stuff is pretty much all computers now. My
That's
parents
sketchy, dude.
want me to. Oh, all right. I I've been with an individual who has a Flipper Zero, and it was
Nice.
really fun to see the chaos. Also, this is just interesting because the Flipper Zero can mess with Teslas, right? It can open up the charging port, and I've been into CVS's where the individual like used it and caused the PA system to go crazy. I'm like, it's interesting. I don't know where I went on that line. I thought I was talking about cars, and then I remembered the Flipper Zero.
I mean, the Flipper Zero is a fantastic subject. Um, See, the thing about the Flipper Zero is it's not new technology. It's just incredibly user friendly. Any
Hmm.
noob can pick up a Flipper Zero and play with things. But it's just taking radio signals and exploiting those. Uh, I dabbled in a little bit recently. The like Starlink
Hmm.
radio signals and Wi-Fi from space. A lot of that stuff isn't encrypted because they expect nobody to pick up the signals. So they
That's a
just
very
assume
big
that
attack
it's
vector.
like that. It's not like that. It's more like I can see where your internet traffic's been, or stealing your neighbor's Wi-Fi signal. That's essentially the about that. That's all it is.
I think
It's not like
it's pretty
a
funny
critical
that
vulnerability or anything.
yeah, no, it's still pretty funny that it's like we don't expect anybody to do this thing, so we're not going to worry about it. That's kind of funny.
I mean, the transceiver to pick up those space signals is about $300 to $500. So there's a margin of people that probably can't do that.
Yeah, no, totally. It's a good point though. What you're saying, it's just a Flipper Zero. It's very easily consumer front facing, so it makes it. It's just like when phones happened, right?
Oh yeah, did you see that they banned the Flipper Zero in Canada?
Did they? No, I have not.
Yeah, they legitimately banned the sale or usage of the device in Canada.
You know
All
what
of
that's gonna
Canada.
do? Just gonna make people
Make
want it
more people
more.
want
Yeah,
it. They're gonna drive down to us and pick one up.
literally, it's just gonna make people want them more.
Yeah, but I think the really dumb thing was they said that the Flipper Zero can steal Teslas. And they're like, now we have to ban the device. And so it's again just older people not understanding what they're doing
Yeah,
and banning a really fun toy. It's a toy basically.
yeah. It literally can't like from the experience that I've seen with it. It doesn't have the capability to do anything overtly harmful. Like you make a PA system say there's a cleanup in aisle 2, or you open up a charging port. And I'm not sure
Like
if it can do anything
that's just
outside
like
of that, but
children throwing rocks at cars. You know,
oh yeah.
it's gonna do a little bit of damage, but it's not worth banning kids and rocks. It's
Yeah, and it's not the Tesla door is not going to open. There was an episode of the Darknet Diaries where they were talking about key fobs. And there was a exploit that someone had. I don't remember what brand of car. I think Hondas. I could be wrong. Kias or Hondas, one of the two, where they could mess with the radio signal from the key fob and try to replicate it and then just open your door. Like they would capture the signal between the key fob and to the door and replicate it on their own and just open that. I mean that's a little bit more intimidating than opening up your charging port.
Yeah, I mean, if you get into somebody's car, whether you pick the lock or you remote key fob in, you're just lost your vulnerables. But it's infinitely less likely that you're going to emulate a key fob, open a door, and then drive off with the car. Mostly because there's some inner workings, and most people have those things hooked up to their phones. So they'll be like, your car's driving off. And they're like, why? And then they'll shut it off with their phone. And
it's like Watch
and
Dogs.
so like it's completely fabricated that people are stealing cars with a toy they got for $100. And it's not helping at all. There's a disconnect between the younger generation that grew up with this technology and the older generation that's just learning it.
Oh yeah, totally.
And so we have to, I mean, honestly, we have to quit laughing at them, even though it's kind of funny when grandma calls a timeshare a good investment. But we have to get on their level and educate them. Because if we're all safer together and understand it just a little bit, we'll stop getting stupid laws that don't make any sense and don't help. And we'll stop, all this grandma got scammed for her life savings because she thought she won a cruise. Or I had a great story. My boss, I will not give his name, but he is untech savvy to the utmost extreme. He was calling what he thought was his phone company, and he gave his social security, credit card information, driver's license number, all the information that phone companies don't need, thinking that he was paying his bill.
Mm-hmm.
Because all he did was search phone company XYZ in Google and press the first result, which was a Google ad, which anybody can make a fake website
literally
and pay $5 to Google to have it on the top. So he got to a fake phone company website.
PSA,
which is
just never click the ads, everybody. Like literally, I've not
past
to
every single ad.
yeah, not to side rail you, but literally for a lot of the software that I use for my job, there's blatant ripoffs that have different naming in the URL that says ad because someone just duplicated the website and then paid for
And
it to be
like
on top.
that's not hard. And if you can get some money, or I feel bad for the guy because you can't really get a new social security number. Um,
Yeah, those don't grow on trees.
yeah, unless you can count the cardboard that it's printed on. But
That too. Yeah.
yeah, but the attack vector is so wide reaching, and you inherently trust Google, which you shouldn't. You should never trust
Oh yeah.
Google. Google's dumb and a money pit. That's what they are.
Unironically, I actually have a Google hoodie on right now that I bought at their headquarters when I went to California. Is there a microchip on here? Are they listening? Are they going to come take me
They're
out?
probably listening to everything. You're gonna disappear next week. Sorry, buddy.
It's game over. It's game over.
But like, I still use Google Chrome just because I like the way the search engine works. But I also use Brave, and I know there's controversy against Brave. It just depends on what I'm searching.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want ads for this in the future? If I'm searching scuba gear or Amazon, I don't really care
Yeah.
if there's ads. If I'm searching, I don't know, engagement rings or something a little more private that I don't want ads popping up all around the house,
mm-hmm.
I use Brave because it'll block those trackers and I won't get engagement ring ads or, because that'll blow the secret or whatever.
Yeah.
There was an issue with some lady. She Googled, baby diapers, baby names, whatever, because she was pregnant, but she hadn't told her dad yet. And then her dad suddenly saw, baby diaper ads, and it ruined the surprise, which isn't that bad, but it's kind of just annoying
mm-hmm.
that you don't have any privacy ever at all.
Yeah, it's quite literally like my favorite acronym is not. It's not if you're gonna get hacked or popped. It's when you're gonna get hacked or popped because it's.
Oh yeah.
There's no security through obscurity, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, you can take back your privacy, but it's more steps than people would like to do.
Yeah.
I have conversations with this all the time. It's, why would I care about hiding if I have nothing to hide? I'm like, it's not about hiding from the good guys. It's about hiding from the bad guys.
Yeah.
Your internet data is on the internet, usually Google servers or wherever, forever, or until it burns down in a fiery pit of fire. But it's out there. And let's just use like North Korea as an example. They really don't like freedom.
They do not like freedom. That is, yeah.
They don't like freedom. And everybody knows that North Korea is kind of weird like that. They have, the government blocks websites that aren't approved by the North Korean government. You can't go watch Rambo, the Terminator, the whatever. Western media is what they call it.
Or The Dictator. They got really mad about that one.
Yeah, so you can't watch, I think it was called The Interview.
Oh, yeah, The Interview.
Got in trouble for that one. But
I'm glad you knew what I meant. That makes me feel better.
Yeah, but I love that movie. It's fantastic. But who's to say that in 15 years, a couple presidential cycles, we don't get that paranoid and start, you talk bad about A, B, and C, you're going to jail. Because you already have that celebrities doing a Twitter post from like 10 years ago, and they're like, I'm sorry, it was a joke, and then they get canceled and they lose jobs.
Yeah, cancel culture is rough.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's real, but it's also not fake.
Yeah.
It's just not as
it's very
intense
vague.
that everybody makes it fake.
Oh, yeah.
you have to be somebody before they'll cancel you. So that's something.
There was a woman, and I believe I just read and seen this story. Of course, when I was doom scrolling, so take this with a grain of salt. You never know if it's accurate or not because I didn't
Yeah.
fact check it myself. But there was it was like two people on TV. They were talking about like freedom of speech, and there was this woman, supposedly one of her friends died in some incident, and this lady posted some lyrics from music that I think was, I don't remember the context of the music, but she got arrested, fined, and got like 500 hours of community service from posting some music lyrics in the UK or England, whatever it's called now. Ever since,
Yeah. Uh, I don't know about that story specifically, but it seems super believable. Even in the US, that's pretty believable. People getting fined for. I mean, I had a old coworker that made a TikTok or a Facebook reel or one of those short videos, whatever. And he was doing it in his car with the radio playing, and it played some copyrighted music. They cut his whole video off because it had copyrighted music in the background, even though he was like filming the sunset or whatever. And so if they're listening to every single lyric and then using there's no person doing that. There's an AI
yeah,
listening to all your stuff.
I
If
just read
anything,
about
freedom of
that.
speech, I guess.
Yeah, no, totally. Like on Pixel Bay, where you can get royalty free music and stuff for content, there's specific tracks that are highlighted. There's gosh, I'm so bad remembering this, but it's on the YouTube. Like Google has an algorithm where creators can mark their content, and if it gets hit anywheres on the internet, like on YouTube or whatever, the creator can do whatever they want with your stuff, even if it's like royalty free. It's like instant. It's like instantaneous too. Like even on Twitch VODs, I have Spotify going in the background, and it says specifically like royalty free, copyright free. Twitch just automatically mutes that stuff, so it's pretty quick.
Yeah, and I know there's no way that humans doing that. It is some robot
Oh
on
yeah,
their server. So you're constantly being monitored,
totally.
and you just hope to the Twitch gods that you didn't mess up this time.
Yeah, I didn't breathe incorrectly. I remember back when I was in that crime with society class, I engage. I would really like to engage in conversation when I was in school. I was like the only person, of course. Everyone was like, nerd, jokes on them. Um, I everybody was aghast when I said that the police have a direct line to tap into every single Ring doorbell if they want. They can just subpoena Ring and get like any footage they want. And they were like, "That's not private."
No,
No.
it's not.
And there was another funny instance too. I did talk to my brother about this. It wasn't as big deal as I initially thought, but this is kind of a good example of don't get really hype about things you read because it's probably not as crazy as it sounds. But I seen a meme of someone. I might have sent it to you. I don't remember. I seen a meme of it was like a sad Patrick from SpongeBob, and the caption was like, "When the U.S. military accidentally leaves classified military documents on Amazon AWS buckets that you can just Google and see."
Oh yeah, that
And
was an issue.
yeah, it's crazy, right? Like, so I guess it's not as big deal as I thought because I talked to my brother all that stuff, and but just the thought of having classified government information on an AWS bucket that anybody can search for, and the the military airplane game War Thunder, the War Thunder
Yeah.
community somehow like this is a situation of if I every time I did this I would have a penny, I would have two pennies, but it's strange it happened twice. Like two times they released like classified military documentation of planes on Discord servers. I'm like, how did you get that? Like,
Oh, dude, you're missing a whole bunch. There's not only two times. This is a notorious problem. The War Thunder community is so crazy. that it has a bunch of ex-military dudes or current military dudes, and they're like, that tank's not accurate, or that plane goes this fast, and I'll prove it. And then they'll leak classified military documents, and they're like, see, the tank is this way.
It's
And I'm
really
like, you guys are crazy.
it's really making sure the OPSEC people in the government are being employed because they have to go through the internet to find these stupid leaks.
Somebody's court-martialed.
Yeah, no, I didn't know it was an actual job until today. Again, there was a cybersecurity channel that was recommended to me, and I was looking through their shorts. But the CIA has a job where you can, like, basically be an internet stalker to find where there's like loopholes in information that's being put out there. Because there was this interesting thing that happened a long time ago. Somebody did some information gathering and they were able to guess when wars were going to start because the Pentagon had a massive increase in pizza orders, and every time that happened some conflict started. And I'm like,
I think I saw that exact same video.
that's amazing. The algorithm, man, it's listening.
Yeah, it's listening. If you do want to know a super cool algorithm trick, you take a buddy of yours,
Mhm.
You go to YouTube Shorts or TikTok or whatever you're doing, and then you scroll 5 videos and you see the drastic difference between your videos and their videos because it's all hand-picked for you guys. He might like cooking and boobs, and you're like cybersecurity and war. I don't know.
No,
You know, it's just your content feed is handpicked for what you want to see.
Yeah.
Which makes the whole idea of I Googled it really bad.
No, yeah, exactly. Sometimes I think the algorithm can read my brain because I swear there's times where I don't even search for something. Like, but
dude, it can. It's all listening to you.
It's like it's crazy. I remember
I hate Alexa and that Google Home. It's all garbage because I talk about, oh, I would love to go to Hawaii. You know what I freaking see? Trips to Hawaii on sale. I'm like, shut up, Google.
It was really scary that, like, even when I explained how the cops or the law enforcement have a direct link to your ring if they want, how nobody knew that, and a lot of people have like the crazy smart home stuff. And have you ever watched Silicon Valley? If you haven't, it's fucking hilarious.
No, I should now, but
really funny. I've watched that show like 4 times. It's so on the nose, like coding humor, cybersecurity humor. It's a really good sitcom. But there is a few episodes where one of the characters got a smart fridge. The character's name was Jing Yang. He's really funny. But the smart fridge, long story short, was like listening to all of them talk and was logging all of their conversations. I'm like, that happens. That's a thing that happens in real life.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're getting to that stage where Alexa can talk to my smart fridge, and they're like, you need eggs. Would you like to add it to your Amazon cart?
God.
And then you'll just have eggs delivered to your freaking door.
You literally just quoted word for word the exact phrase the fridge said when they opened up the door and they were out of almond milk. It's like, it seems like you're out of almond milk. Would you like me to add some to your grocery list?
Absolutely. And some people find that absolutely amazing, and I kind of do too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just my fridge isn't even sacred anymore.
Yeah, no, it's like I think it's super cool to an extent as well, and it's like the whole the Internet of Things concept is like it's really awesome that we have these smartwatches, smart fridges, smart alarm systems, but all of those things have to communicate with your router or with the internet just in general, so it has a link to the outside world of hostility that can then go back to you. So you're allowing more things to be breached. So you're kind of opening up more ways to get screwed over. Like a smart fridge is awesome, but now it has to communicate with the internet.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I trust Amazon or Google Home to probably update their stuff with the latest security patch. But that means it has outside access in to give it that security patch automatically. And then if you get like some cheap knockoff, it's one not going to get that security update as frequently as I would like, and then it still has that port open
Mhm.
to you could talk to my light bulbs or my smart thermostat. But then you have the pivoting aspect. So when I'm in your smart AC system, I can pivot back to your router. I don't know, put a man in the middle attack,
Yeah,
find out everywhere you've been, or just shut off your router and change the password. I could do that too.
it had
And
so
there
many
was
man in
a,
the middle possibilities. I'm glad you said that.
yeah, and that's one of the scariest things. It's not like we're already Google's the man in the middle, but there was a thing with Target. It was a semi-famous hack. Read it on Try Hack Me on one of the pivoting uh, classes they have, where some hackers got into the smart AC system and then got in and pivoted their way around until they got to the card readers and then just yoinked about 2 million cards that the card readers had. Every time somebody swiped, it was going back to the attackers.
That's crazy. I never
All
knew
through some
that.
like smart system that they wanted to have. They're like, oh, it'd be so nice to, control the AC remotely.
That's
And so the Internet of Things is scary, but I want it to move forward, but I feel like people need to pay attention, and not people but companies. They need to security patch their stuff. There should be no remote code execution. It should not be vulnerable, you know?
yeah. No,
But that's
exactly.
a really tall ask because smaller companies aren't going to have the manpower to do that. Larger companies don't care because they have enough money to make the problem go away.
No, it's speaking of RCE, and I want to tell this story first, and then I have a question I want to ask you. So I went to PetSmart a few days ago, just to get some supplies and stuff, and they have a collar like machine where you can put in names and have it like 3D
Yeah,
printed there
the
for you.
engraver or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And that's in like a dark corner of the PetSmart I went to. And guess what's directly next to it?
Is it an ATM?
No, their server room.
Oh,
And when I was
God damn.
there, the door was open. My man's login screen was open, and the server rack was right there and open. And I'm
Dude,
like,
that's why I keep USBs on me.
literally, if I could have just walked, I could have meandered my way in there, took just a nice little USB and just wreaked havoc.
Absolutely. But I mean, that's kind of circumstantial, but it's still
Oh
super
yeah,
bad security practice.
exactly, and
The
that
door
goes
should have
to
been locked.
exactly that goes down to like where you're saying with the education and understanding these different things, because I guarantee you, not as like a slight to anybody that worked there, but I guarantee you that never crossed anybody's brains, like, because who's gonna know
Yeah.
that unless you're like in the field trying to learn about it, because like to the average day person it's like, oh, it's just a bunch of boxes.
Yeah. If you lock the door, that's already like a really good step.
Yeah.
Not every hacker is going to know how to, pick a lock or want to in the broad daylight in the middle of a busy store.
And then you introduce the next level, just buy to see if they really are on their game. Just buy a high res or a high vis vest, bring a clipboard and a ladder, and just say you have to. Everybody listens to a person with a high vis. There, you walk in there with so much authority. It's literally confidence. So I love physical penetration testing, and I love the stories because half of them always come down to just buying a high visibility vest and walking in the front door with the most confidence ever and talking to the front desk, and they literally give you everything.
Oh man. So that's just like hard social engineering, and social engineering is just what like magicians do.
Mm-hmm.
Magicians do sleight of hand, and social engineering, they're like, hey, look over here, I'm going to move the card behind your back or whatever. And that, if that was nefarious, they'd suddenly have your wallet and they'd show you a magic card trick in the exchange for your credit card.
Yeah, social
It's
engineering
just a
is cool.
social engineering is probably my most interested part in all of cybersecurity, and it's also the most overlooked
Oh yeah.
because it's like I work here now, and they're like, okay,
One of the weakest links in a lot of people's security in companies is literally people most of the time.
people, it's difficult, and I would say women have an unfair advantage in the social engineering department. If you have a nefarious woman,
Oh
who's
yeah.
not going to hold the door open for a nice lady with her hands full or something, you know?
Literally, yeah.
But that's assuming they are trying to get in unauthorized. And but if you've never seen them before, just do not hold the door open for them. That's unless you know it's to the store. Hold the door open for ladies.
Yeah. Everyone starts slamming doors shut. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I worked at like a Fred Meyer's once, and they had you go through training, and it was you have to badge in. Don't hold the door for open for anybody. And I was like, that's pretty good security practice. You know, good on them.
Oh yeah.
But if I see this person every day, I'm gonna just hold the door open for them. But then it goes into I didn't know they were fired yesterday. you know,
Yeah, no,
you don't
it's
know the whole story. You don't know what they're doing.
the I do have God, now I have so many stories. This is awesome. I'm glad. I had an interview. This relates to having good security practice and kind of social engineering in a way. But I had an interview at this campus. It was like non for profit, really nice people. And I had to bring some social media videos that I made, and I brought it on a flash drive. And when it was time for me to show my social media stuff, I pull out my flash drive. I'm like, so I have two ways to do this. I have it on my flash drive. You can use it, or I have my laptop. And I'm so thankful. I never even made the connection until after they said it. I'm so thankful they said, now just put it in your laptop because of security reasons. And I looked at her. I'm like, thank
What?
you. Thank you for saying that.
Oh, you tested your interviewers.
Yeah, unintentionally. I just because like when I said that, I was like, wow, light bulb. I
Right.
wasn't even attempting to like do it. But if I was malicious, you could still you
Absolutely.
could still have it be like a normal flash drive. They put it in and your videos load up, but you can have something in the background that just goes into their computer and they won't even know it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That brings me a pretty good story about bad USBs and people that shouldn't trust them. Uh, I was going through the airport, and I have a big, bulky computer case that is technically a gun case because
Hmm.
I don't trust airlines to not throw my stuff around. But inside there, I have the Wi-Fi pineapple, the OMG cable, the bad USB rubber ducky bunch stuff. And then I have a note on it every time I go through the airport because I know they're going to open it. And I say, this is malware. Don't plug it in. And it's not actually malware. I'm just testing TSA because they're dummies. They plugged in the USB and it phoned home. And I told their boss. And I said, hey, one of your TSA agents at this airport plugged in my USB to a computer on your, and here's the ping. And I screenshotted the ping on my home server. It phoned home. I have remote access if I wanted to.
That's
I
wild.
hope somebody was fired.
Yeah, no, that's especially that infrastructure. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I trust that an airport should be some of the most secure things, especially since like most airplanes have an autopilot of some sort.
Oh yeah.
That would be really bad if some. I don't know if it's even possible, but it would be bad if something happened to the remote systems on an airplane.
It's kind of like seeing needles in the ground. Never just pick up a USB. Don't
Oh,
experiment to find out what's on it unless you're in like an isolated environment.
uh, I have become the guy that opens the spam emails and hopes that something interesting pings on the other side. I've found some really good ones and some really not so good ones. Uh, I found one that looked almost exactly like a bank login. The only reason I didn't trust it is because I don't have that bank.
Mhm.
But if I did have that bank, I'd be pretty convinced because it was like blank and blank bank dot tech. not .com, which is the actual one. So it was really close. It was .tech instead of .com, which would make you think it was still the official website, and they just wanted you to log in, which was your bank account, login info, which they would have just taken. But fantastic kudos on them. They tried hard.
Yeah. Awesome. I don't know if this is going to be a question you're able to answer, but I just figured it seems fun, so I'm going to throw it out there. Do you have any like stories of tests that you've done that you're allowed to disclose of anything interesting that's happened?
Can you describe test?
Or just like with just like penetration testing, like when you're learning, has anything interesting happened that you're able to talk about?
I accidentally got into a spam guy's command and control center. I don't know if you're familiar with what that is.
Yeah.
So it's where they.
But for the audience at home, feel free to explain.
Yeah, absolutely. So what bad guys will usually do is they'll send out hundreds of thousands of millions of emails and just hope that something catches. It's a spray and pray technique. And me, being the reverse engineer that I can be, opened this spam email, nmapped in, and then found a port that is not usually open. Reverse engineered into it, got in to their command and control center, and they had quite a few bots, which are just computers that have been infected with a malware to do something on a later date.
Botnets OP.
Yeah, botnets are OP. But technically it's illegal to do that, but I don't think they'd have a case in court. So they're like, he took down my botnet. And I was like, you're not supposed to have that.
That would be an interesting court case. I'm pretty sure the judge would be like, what's a botnet? Does that sound, that's an ice cream flavor or something?
Yeah, it's an ice cream flavor. It's really yummy. So I took it upon myself to disconnect all the bots. I just gave them a kill code and all the bots died.
Very noble.
So nobody was connected anymore.
Yeah, no, that's very awesome. The white hat hacking.
Very upset. Very upset.
Oh yeah, white hat hacking superheroes.
The other day.
Oops, sorry. What was that?
A couple days later, he apparently found my IP address that I went through, and we had a little back and forth conversation about that. That was pretty chill dude, honestly. He did some illegal shit, but like he's like, yo, bro, how'd you do that? I was like, this. I don't want to get into the technical side of it, but it was pretty. We just had a long conversation about hacking after that. It was weird. He sent me just some dark websites, .onions.
Have you ever been on the dark web before?
Yeah, I take the proper precautions and I peruse. Remember, there's nothing illegal about looking.
Yeah.
Usually. It depends on what you're looking at.
I'm too much of a I won't say the bad word, but I'm too much of a wimp to do it. Like I again, it's kind of like the Darknet Diary stories and other horror stories. I'm always afraid that like if I ever do it just to look and experience it, that I'm gonna get killed by like a Russian assassin or something.
It's a Russian assassin. It's always a Russian guy. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's always a Russian guy.
They're the scariest, I'd say, but
yeah.
I mean, I totally lost my train of thought, but
that's okay. I keep butting it. Holy crap! Wow, we're almost at an hour and a half already.
Well, if you want to call it and we can do a part 2 at some later date.
I would love to do a part 2, but I do. I'll make sure to put that on my notes that you're down for part 2.
We can do a cooking one later.
Exactly. So I'll save the cooking questions for next time because that's good. Because I was going to ask you a few, but I think that could be interesting for another episode. I'm glad this was cybersecurity because I've been meaning to get a cybersecurity episode. I guess I'll end it with two questions. The first one's just a normal question. The second one is one that's going to put you on the spot in not a bad way, but in a critical thinking way that my brother likes to do for his, and it always makes people clam up for a second. uh, so for people who are wanting to get into cybersecurity and kind of learn it, coming from somebody who has been doing fantastic. Like, I love listening to you talk about it and like telling me things because I can learn from you because you're significantly further ahead in the self-teaching stuff. Like, I keep taking long breaks and I really need to get back to it. But from someone who has pretty efficiently taught themselves this stuff, what do you recommend for people who want to learn more about it or hesitant to? Like, what do you recommend?
I would recommend try Hack Me as a beginner. It is they're very beginner friendly and they show you red teaming, blue teaming, and then some networking. They're I think $15 a month,
I believe
but
so,
that's
yeah.
totally worth it for it's cheaper than college. And then you can find your own what you prefer in the cybersecurity universe because there is so many options.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can move on from there. But yeah, definitely try Hack Me as a beginner friendly website.
I love how defined the different career paths are in cybersecurity and just security in general. Like, I've dabbled in a lot of it, like for writing. It's not as like being a writer. It's not as defined, but in cybersecurity, like, oh, do you want to be red team or offensive security? You can go this way. You want to be blue defensive? You can go down this way. Like SOC analysis, just all of that. You can go down this path. You want to be
Yeah.
penetrate like physical penetration. Like, there's all of the different ways you can go are so neatly defined that it feels like, and you have your certifications in each one, so it's like a nice roadmap for what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's just so many options. There's probably a niche for every. You can
Yeah,
work hardening as a defensive person. You can do social engineering techniques. Whatever your skill set is, you will find it in a cybersecurity outlook.
totally awesome. Yeah, try Hack Me is a great resource. Awesome. All right. For my final question, you don't have to have an answer. If you don't have it, it's completely okay. But what would you want to leave the audience with? Just words of wisdom, advice. What do you want to end it off with?
Words of wisdom. Privacy isn't dead. You just have to take it back.
Awesome. I love that. Very epic. Thank you. I really appreciate your time, Knight. I'm looking forward to doing another episode with you about cooking and probably more nerdy tech stuff because we're just geeks like that.
This was super fun. You can invite me back anytime you want.
Awesome. I appreciate it. So thank you everybody for listening. It was another great episode. And do you have any plugs or anything? Anywhere people can find you if they want to find you?
Nightfire on YouTube if you want to watch my gaming nonsense with my buddies, but that's about it. I try and stay off a ton of social medias.
I don't blame you. I literally only stay on it for my streaming and my job. But thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you in the next one.